Howdy, y'all. This is Michael of Mikey Does Outdoors, and I have another story for you. And this is a pretty good one, I think. It's one I called the Midnight Howler, and it's a pretty good. It might scare some young folks, maybe a little bit, but it more for fun than anything. I hope you enjoy. Thank you. The Midnight Howler. Some time ago, when I was just a kid, probably middle school, junior high kind of time frame. Uh, I was a member of a group from church that was kind of similar to scouts and that kind of thing. Anyway, we go hiking and fishing and doing various things, learning how to do stuff in the outdoors and how to take care of ourselves in the outdoors and that kind of thing. And one time, the adults decided that we could go to this river that we knew about real close and go down it, take some boats and go down it and do some camping along the way and maybe some fishing and that kind of thing. Maybe just well, probably just a one night trip. But anyway, of course, all the kids were excited about that because we've been itching to go do some of that stuff. But anyway, we did that. The time came. We loaded everything up. We went down to the river. Put in the, of course, they put a vehicle or two down at the where we're going to let out as well. But anyway, put the boats in. I think we had two or three those flat bottom John boats, pretty good size. And we loaded all of our stuff in them, and some people walked. The river wasn't real big, and most places it wasn't very deep, And so, um, anyway, we floated down a ways, and we found a big sandbar in the middle of the river, and everybody decided that we could just camp out right there. It looked like some people had done it before, and so we could do it also, and so we did. We beached our boats and got all of our stuff and set up camp. And me and my friend had just gotten a tent together and had a mess kit and all kinds of fun stuff to use. And we thought this was just living it up good. And we pitched our tent, got our sleeping bags in there, and got everything ready so that we could have a good time. And then we all gathered around the campfire, because that's what you do when you're out on a camping trip. Especially you have adults, you have kids. You gather around the campfire, you cook your dinner if you need to, you eat your dinner, and I think we probably did some roast some marshmallows and had some s'mores and that kind of thing. And and then the grown-ups ask, one of them does, if we'd like to hear a story, because it's part of the tradition. You go out and camping and stuff. The grown-ups have to tell a story. I usually try to tell one that scares the dickens out of the little kids, and I've discovered lately, as an adult, that maybe it was primarily to scare the kids so much that they won't want to get out of bed once they get into bed. But anyway, of course, we all, oh yeah, we want to hear a story and make it a good scary one, so we can, be tough or something. I guess if we, kids sometimes, I think we thought we were about as tough as any kids on the planet. But anyway, we want to hear a good scary story. So that that adult sits down and he says, like he always do, way back a long time ago, in the same area, maybe even in the same spot, you know, pretty close to where we were, there was this fella, and he was crazy, and for some reason, he killed an entire family that had come out to settle out in the West, and then he got away, and there wasn't much law out here or anything, but his family, the family of the folks that got killed, their extended families, they heard about it and they came to check on it, and then they figured out who done it, and they went and started tracking him down. It took him a while to find him, but they found him, and then they brought him back to the river. And when they brought him back, they tried hard to get why he did it out of him and that kind of thing, but they never could. But they took a long time to punish him for what he done. And the whole time he would howl, kind of, their screams sounded like a howl, like a oh, oh, that kind of thing, and then eventually they killed him. But his spirit still roamed that river. So, and when the full's out, and it happened to be the night we were out, there happened to be a full moon, and when the moon was full, sometimes in the middle of the night, around midnight, you could hear howl way out into the distance, like, oh, oh. And if you hear it out in the distance, that's fine. You're not in trouble yet, but you need to stop and listen to the howl and see if you can tell if it's getting closer to you. Because if it isn't, then you're safe. Although, if you hear the howl if you hear it like faint, oh, then you hear it, oh, and then even louder, that means if you're camping by yourself, or in an area by yourself, for whatever reason, camping or whatever you're doing, you're probably the one that's been chosen for that night. However, if you're in a big group, you don't know who it was, but somebody, and maybe the whole group, has been chosen to die by that spirit. Anyway, of course, we were tough. Me and my friend thought we were some of the toughest kids, around. And so that didn't bother us. We knew there wasn't really a spirit of any kind, and we weren't just going to be scared like that. But we got back to and that was at the end of that story. Everybody went to their own, wherever they're going to camp. Not everybody had a tent. Some people just rolled out a sleeping bag right out there. Anyway, we had a tent, me and my buddy, but it was a little kid's tent. It didn't really have windows and that kind of thing. But it was warm enough that we decided to leave the door that was facing downriver open. We rolled the flaps back, so we have a nice big door and some breeze coming through there. And then we got in there and we talked about the story and assured each other that it wasn't real, there wasn't any such thing as a spirit like that, and we knew better. And even if there was, we're pretty tough. And so we thought we could, and I had a hunting knife, so if we needed to, we could take care of ourselves. But we probably wouldn't need to because that stuff doesn't exist anyway. Anyway, we went to sleep, but in the middle of the night, I felt my buddy shake me, and I woke up, and he said, "It's midnight." I said, "Okay, do you hear anything?" So we stopped, and we listened. Way off in the distance, you could hear, "Oh, oh." And that scared us plumb to death, because we were sure that it wasn't really any kind of spirit, but it sure sounded like the same thing that was in that story. So we looked at each other frightenedly, and scared. And we okay, well, we need to listen some more. So we sat there and we listened. And you could hear, oh, and you could hear it get louder, oh, oh. And then, before you know it, something ran right through the door of our tent. And it was thought it was going to go all the way through, but the back side didn't have a door. And so it stopped, and you could hear it growling and carrying on, and then the howl got really loud, oh! And then all of a sudden, something else was in the tent with us. And there was, things happening. And so we and my buddy ducked into our sleeping bags. So we didn't know what was going on, but we wanted to stay alive. And so we were ducking in there, hoping whatever it was would just move on. But it kept going for a while. The tent was rocking and rolling. And every once in a while, something would slip and fall on me and slip and fall on my buddy. And we'd yell out, and you could hear, and some growling and stuff going on. Then we heard a little bit of a rip, shh, and then something made its own back door out at the back of the tent and went out the door. And we were still ducked in there, and we heard something, a bigger rip, shh, and we didn't know what it was, but we weren't peeking out of our sleeping bags. But at that point in time, all of the commotion seemed to move away from us and go in the other direction. And we stayed there, sat there in our sleeping bags for a while, wondering what in the world that was and what was going on. We were afraid to peek out and see what was going on, but finally, I got some nerve up and looked out of my sleeping bag, and lo and behold, the entire top part of our tent, everything but the floor, was gone. And we were like, what? And so but so far nothing was after us anymore, and so I reached over and shook my buddy, told him to come on out and let's look around. And so he looked out and he was like, "Where'd the tent go?" "I don't know where it went." "Any more do you do?" I wasn't looking at that. I was in my sleeping bag, praying that I would live through whatever was going on. He said, well, me too. I have no idea what it was. Well, and so we got up and started looking around a little bit. In a little while, and our all the campers around us and the adults were up, and they were just laughing and carrying on at us, and we weren't feeling kind of too much like laughing about anything, because whatever that was, it scared us plumb to death, and it wasn't funny. And our tent was gone. We just bought, and except for the floor, the part we were laying on apparently had ripped right off. But and then we saw this guy on his horse come up, and he asked if we had seen any hound dogs, and of course we did. Didn't know what it was. It came in the tent, but we said, well, we didn't see anything, but we had something going on. We told him the story about what went on, and he was just dying laughing himself. He said, well, he told us what he is doing is he's out hunting raccoons. He has hound dogs, more than one of them. But he said apparently one of them kind of took off and chasing after a raccoon, and we kind of lost him. But and then that's when the camp director or somebody that was still up spoke up and said, yeah, you should have seen a raccoon run into that tent with those boys. And then the next thing you saw is that hound dog running there, and there was all kinds of commotion, rolling around back and forth, and all kinds of growls and things going on. And then that raccoon seemed to make a back door in that tent and crawl through it and took off. And then the hound dog put his head through it, but he was so big he couldn't fit through the thing, and somehow it ripped that whole top of that tent off, and the hound dog has probably got that tent still around him. He's chasing off of that raccoon. And everybody in the place is dying laughing, except for us, because we still are out of tent, and we were kind of beat up a little bit, bruised and battered from all the commotion that was going on in that tent. We didn't like that too much. But anyway, at least we found out that it wasn't really the Midnight Howler after us. It was just a hound dog chasing a raccoon and got caught up in our tent. But anyway, we were so glad about that, and we didn't we didn't know what else to say about it, except the camp, all the adults assured us that we were going to be saved, and so did the hunter, the guy that was on the horse out hunting. He said, it's all safe now, and so we couldn't go back to sleep, because what if there really was a Midnight Howler? Our kids, thought we were tough when it started out, but we found out that we weren't near as tough as we thought we were. Anyway, we were still alive and kicking, and so, well, we decided to stayed there the whole night. Of course, me and my friend didn't get another lick of sleep at all the rest of that night. But we've got up the next day, had breakfast, and went back to town. And we haven't been camping back out on that middle of that river like that again, just because you never know what's going to happen. And so you need to be careful when you're out running around in the forest or on the river, whatever you're doing, and keep your eyes out for the Midnight Howler or a hound dog chasing a raccoon. All right, everybody. If you enjoyed that story, would you please subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the like button? I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you.